Yeah. Hey. All right. Hey. Yeah, I mean.
So we about to take off.
Hey. Please do remain calm. About to run against it and with a little bit of soul, no times.
Welcome to Please Remain Calm. I'm Ben Gonzalez.
And I am Daniel Gonzalez. As always, folks, the opinions expressed here on the Please Remain Calm podcast are our own. They do not reflect the opinions of the Los Angeles City Fire Department or the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services.
Yeah.
Fuck, I fucked that up.
That's all good. Is there a Los Angeles Department of Health Services?
But there probably is. There's got to be.
Who knows?
But what is this? Episode 108? 109?
Yeah, 109.
109.
Yeah.
As long as I've been doing that, I think that's the first time I've messed it up.
Really?
It's kind of upsetting.
I've messed up multiple times. I said, welcome to Please Remain Calm.
We didn't always do it at the beginning. Remember, we would forget to do it, or we'd do it at the end.
Yeah.
And I was always super worried about that. You know what I mean? Because
you know what we're forgetting at the end now that we're back? We're forgetting to do the outro.
Yeah.
Say where to follow us and shit. We're all right, peace.
We'll do that today.
Yeah.
But I remember being super worried about that at the beginning because nobody else was doing a podcast about the fire department or on the fire. There were no other fire department podcasts.
Yeah.
I honestly think we might have been the very first one.
Now, hundreds.
But there are a lot more now. But back then it was just damn, am I going to get in trouble for this?
Do you listen to any of the other ones?
A couple of them. Yeah. There's the Grabs Lives podcast.
Okay.
Is one that a couple guys from LA City do.
Yeah.
And they're kind of I call them like a holistic podcast almost. They talk about kind of holistic stuff and mental health and stuff like that.
That sounds
cool. Yeah, it's actually a really good podcast.
What's it called?
Sorry, I'm getting over this chest cold, man. The Grab Lives podcast.
Grab Lives.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, I used to be really worried about that stuff. And then, because you're supposed to say that, even with social media, social media was new.
We had that episode about it.
Yeah.
We had Captain Scott.
Yeah. That's right.
And
that's
explaining the social media captain and the room.
Yeah.
Somebody who's watching everyone that hashtags LAFD.
Yeah.
Or tags any fire tags in it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like a whole wall of televisions. They just sit in there and look at social media.
They were on Danny.
I would kick ass at that job.
They were on you, fool. They were watching.
Yeah, man. So we had a guest lined up for today, kind of fell through. But we've had a lot happen in the past
we got a lot of
weeks,
things to catch up on. And we were trying to pre-tape episodes and drop them and have them in the can so we wouldn't lag. And now we've caught up. So this is one of the first episodes where it's real time. We can talk about something that happened this week and it just happened. You know what I mean? We don't have to act like it's a month later. Yeah. So we had Dan Meyer, the airport firefighter, police officer, on the last one. Super interesting episode. Shout out Dan. Thank you. And
he's a good dude, man.
Just all this plane stuff seemed to be happening after we did that episode, dude.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So trip out on this, dude. I have a buddy named Mike Anderson who might be listening right now. But we worked at McCormick together.
Okay.
And then, you're kind of on your trip up to try to get hired on the fire department, stuff like that. And you work with different people and shit like that. So we work at McCormick together. He winds up getting hired at Compton, the Compton Fire Department. And I don't know if you remember, but there was a TV show, a Compton Fire
I
TV
do
show.
remember.
They
It was
filed
first in.
the Compton Fire guys around.
We had that dude on the show that was on the show, right? Or he was a Compton Fire guy when they were filming.
Yes.
What was his name again? I don't remember now. Kevin? No.
Yeah.
Kevin.
It was Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Kevin.
Yeah.
I was
He was
trying to
a
remember-
black belt and shit.
I was trying to remember who it was that said it. Yeah, it was Kevin Green.
Yeah.
So he was on that show. And fucking side note, I'm telling the story, but you know what happened with that battalion chief that was on that show?
Yeah,
right?
dude, that shit was crazy, man. We kind of talked about it a little bit then too. He got busted for stealing
we did
radios,
talk about
dude.
that. Yeah,
he stole all the radio equipment.
He stole
and was
the radio
selling it
equipment.
online or something.
Yeah, he was selling it online, and then they were gonna catch him, and he set the equipment room on fire.
Yeah.
And it wound up catching Compton headquarters on fire.
Dude.
They had to respond and put
Trying
out this
to
structure
destroy
fire.
his evidence.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's funny how I just that just dawned on me right
But
now.
that did happen.
Anyway, this dude Mike, so I'd see him on the show, like, oh shit, that's Mike from McCormick, whatever. And then we would run into each other. He wound up getting picked up by, or I don't remember if did Compton get taken over by county?
Nah, they're still Compton, dude.
So he got hired then with LA County because he works for LA County now. And I would run into him every now and then at the hospital. I'm like, oh shit, what's up, man? And then social media came around. We started following each other. And so we just kind of keep in touch that way. He's a DJ now. I think he's DJ. I can't remember what his handle is. But anyway, he's on that show now on NBC, the LA County Fire show. The Dick Wolf one, right? That where they follow him around and shit, right? The reality show.
Williams is on that too, right? The dude, the Williams key guy.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name? Trevor?
Yeah, Trevor. Yeah,
he was cool.
So Mike, he pops up in my feed on Instagram. So he pops up this morning, standard, like on the plane with your plane tickets and the mimosa, like, oh, hey, I'm out, we out or whatever. Right?
Yeah, the little emojis.
And the shot out the window and shit, right? And I'm like, oh shit, that's cool. Well, I'm always get a kick when I see people traveling, right? And I'm like, oh sweet, where's Mike going? You know what I mean? Yeah. So then later in the day, he posts fucking Tokyo, Japan, right? And it's like the lights of Tokyo and all this shit, right? And then the next morning I wake up and I'm flipping through, right? Sitting on the throne, flipping through. And Mike posts that his whole room is swaying back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, right when they got to Tokyo, that 7.2 earthquake hit. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Like a gang of people died. There was all kinds of landslides and shit like that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. Crazy. So then at the same time, I don't know if you heard about this also, there was a Japanese Coast Guard plane that was going to like take supplies somewhere and fucking collided with a commercial airliner.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, on the tarmac.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that airliner wound up catching fire and they evacuated a bunch of people and some people died on that plane too. But yeah, you were talking about
it was
shit
like a couple of people. Yeah.
Shit with planes happening.
Yeah.
That was kind of a roundabout way of getting to that, but
we got to have that guy Mike on the show.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I know, right?
Well, I've mentioned it to him. I've seen him a few times and I've mentioned it to him, but dude, there's so many. I have a list of like 15 people
I know. Same
that
here.
we're trying to match up and hook up our schedules with and stuff like that. It's
and
so
like I have people
hard.
too that like don't necessarily have a thing that happened to them, but they just are cool and funny and like our show.
Yeah,
just want to fucking talk to us. Yeah, it's
but
man.
There's a long list of people that we're trying to get on, and it's just like so difficult to match up our schedules and stuff.
So yeah, there was an Alaska Airlines flight. They were like 4,000 feet up, and the fucking door ripped off.
20 minutes into the flight,
yes, dude, climbing.
The door rips off the side of the plane.
Just a gaping hole.
Instant depressurization. Yeah. Thank God nobody's sitting in the two seats that were right next to the door.
They had sold those tickets and they didn't show up.
Damn.
Can you imagine that shit, dude?
That's fucking crazy.
You missed your flight and then you find out that the fucking door ripped off of your row.
And apparently I was reading a story this morning that the force of the actual door and the rapid depressurization, it actually torqued those two seats toward they're bolted in, obviously, right? Yeah. But it torqued the seats toward the opening. So, I mean, you're 20 minutes into the flight full.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My seatbelt's off.
Yeah.
You would have just got sucked out.
Even if you have it on, it's like a belt. You know what I mean? Like it's like nobody's strapped into their fucking seat on a plane, dude.
That's true.
You're chilling, dude. Like it's barely holding you, dude.
Or like if you had your kid sitting there by the window, you know what I mean?
Because
they want to look out the window.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. And then Mark was saying that United like inspected a bunch of their planes and that they found like 20 other planes with like loose screws, loose bolts and shit, dude. How many? 4?
That's close to 20.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. There's been a lot of little things like that happening on planes lately, man.
I know, dude. And they were saying too, like something like the cockpit recorder wasn't recording on that flight or something. There's just all these little things where like you don't know about, and that's on top of like just the fact that like it's a dude flying you.
Yeah.
You're just trusting this guy and whatever day he's having, and that this is not his 10th flight or something, and that he's not drinking.
He's not drunk.
You know what I'm saying? It's just some dude at his job, dude. Like, think of all the people you know at work and like how many of what percentage of them are completely straight and on the level all the time.
Yeah.
You know
that's
what I mean?
True, man.
Yeah, dude. That shit's wild, man.
Yeah.
Wild.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just like you can't expect anything to operate the way it's supposed to operate these days. It's like, God, man, it really feels. I was just talking about this with the dude I was working with yesterday. Me and Don have these like deep conversations. It's kind of funny actually, but I was like, man, you know, fucking all great civilizations have fallen, right? Like the Roman Empire, like the fucking Roman Empire, like fell. It doesn't exist anymore. The ancient Egyptians, right? They fell. That's what this like period of time kind of feels like. Yeah. It feels like everything is like just a little bit worse, a little bit less attention to detail, a little bit less like craftsmanship, a little bit less like giving a fuck because you're not getting paid the same enough, though, you know?
This is the best it's ever been.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
that's
I guess,
what's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And like those civilizations, like the ones that we know about, like think like throughout history, there can be all these where like all their shit was erased. Nobody speaks their language. All their shit got destroyed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's like human history, man.
It's just like everything's trying to move forward so fast. And like, that's the only thing, because everyone's like scraping and scratching for money, you know what I mean? And that last dollar and stuff like that. Shit is just not as, the quality is not as good as it has been for everything. I'll give you an example. And not to like talk shit about it. I don't like talking shit about operations or whatever, but like there's this video, I saw this video yesterday of a fire company, right? An LA City company. And they respond to this like a box truck fire. It's parked in a residential street. Yeah. It's a box truck. It's the whole undercarriage is burning, right? Dude comes up with the hose. He kind of starts squirting the underneath, and you could tell it's like it's fuel on the ground that's burning because it's on the ground and it's burning up, right? And like the whole underneath of the box truck is burning like that. And it's when he sprays it, it's moving around, right? Because the fuel just sits on top of the water, it'll just keep burning. You have to, just like on an airline fire, you have to put foam on it, right? Yeah. So most auto fires start in the engine compartment, right? Unless someone torched the car. If you go and it's fully involved already, someone probably, and the engine compartment's not burning, it's probably a fucking torch job. But most auto fires start in the engine compartment, right? They'll get the engine going and then they'll move and the smoke and everything will come through and that's how it gets the rest of the car going. So when you fight an auto fire, right? One guy is pulling the hose line, the other guy grabs a dry chem fire extinguisher and a tool, a pry tool, right? And so one of your jobs is to get over there and try to pop the hood. So you can either pop the front, the grill off and grab the little watt cable that pops the hood and yank it with your axe and then open the fucking thing up, right? So you can actually squirt water on it. But sometimes the way it's designed or the way it was, or maybe it's an accident or something, you can't get to it or whatever, you put that pry bar in the side and you pry it up so you can get hose line in there and put that fire out, right? Okay, so these guys pull up and there's video of it. And the video that I saw, there's a guy like critiquing it, like basically talking shit. It was kind of a fucked up operation. And so the guy with the hose line is just kind of like randomly squirting shit, but nothing's going out, right? Because it's fuel that's burning. It's not the contents really. So, and the other guy's trying to get the hood open, can't get the hood open. And he's trying to like, they wind up with like 2 rotary saws trying to cut this hood open. Meanwhile, the whole fucking back of the box truck now is like fuel. The fuel is like continuously dripping. So there's more and more fire. And now they're spraying water on it. Well, the water starts going down the rain gutter. Yeah. So now it's going underneath 2 or 3 other cars that are behind it. And now it gets those cars going and it turns into this fucking inferno, right? The box truck is fully involved now.
Right.
The
nobody cars behind it.
And nobody recognized it, right? There's no foam getting put on it at all. Nobody recognized that, like, hey, this is fuel. It's sitting on top of the, let's dike up the gutter.
Right.
You know, hey, somebody grab a shovel, get some dirt from that yard, dike up the gutter here so we can keep it contained. You know what I mean? Shit like that.
Yeah, right.
So, and then the video kind of ends. So I don't know how they finally mitigated the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But we're talking about a legit company. Guys that are like firefighters, like they're it's the best of our department. They go to the biggest, craziest fires. They're the most disciplined, best trained guys, right? But in this instance, this operation got all fucked up, right? And so I'm watching and I'm like, damn, how did this shit get so out of hand, right? And I was thinking back to like, okay, I've got 20 years on the job now, right? I'm actually giving my 20-year dinner to the guys. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I remember a buddy of mine who was like a senior fireman at my first house, right? My first house off probation 9s. This guy, Matt Anderson. I remember him telling me a story. We were talking about like our first fire calls, right? Because my first fire call at 26's, my first house, right? I was riding the engine with a guy named Sammy Ortiz, right? And Sammy was like an older dude, been on 26's forever, fireman, right? Hammer on the rookies and shit like that. And so we had an auto fire, right? And I'm the nozzle guy. When you're the rookie, you're the nozzle guy, right? Sammy's the hydrant guy. So I'm supposed to pull the nozzle to the car, call for water, get water on the fire, all that stuff. Well, right at that time when I came out into the field, they were making us suit up for auto fires. You didn't used to suit up. You should just pull your hood over your nose and go to work on an auto fire because you're in the open air, right?
Right.
But it was like turning into a big thing. We had to suit up fully with mask up and everything to go to an auto fire, right? So I jump off the rig and I'm throwing my breather on, right? You wouldn't even throw a breather on when you had an auto fire. You just ran up to, so I get out the rig, I'm throwing my breather on, and Sammy comes tearing ass over, grabs the nozzle, runs it over to the car, calls for water, and I'm like, fuck, man. And I'm trying to put this thing on because I'm a first house worker. I've been hammered, like, you have to suit up. Yeah. Put my shit on. By the time I get my shit on, Sammy's putting the fucking fire out, right? So I'm talking about that, and Matt Anderson goes, oh, let me tell you about my first fire. And he goes, we pulled up, I forget where he said he was at, I think 29's. And he goes, we pull up and it's traffic and the car's on fire. And he goes, and the car's like fully involved. And I come running up with the nozzle. It's my first fire. And I see through the windshield, the windshield's all broken out. And there's a guy on fire in the front of the rig. No. And he's like, Rah! I remember him like animated this, right? Because we're all sitting around like, I don't know, drinking at a bar or something like that, right? He's telling this story. So we're like, oh shit. And he's like, and the guy's like, like a mud. I'm like, and he was like, so I'm like, holy shit. And then the fuel tank had burst and the fuel had run all the way down the gutter and it caught like 5 or 6 other cars on fire. So all of a sudden behind this guy who's like, rah, and then he like stopped moving. So I knew he died. All of a sudden this like all these cars burst into flames behind him. He's also, I'm like running up with this hose line, like seeing all this shit. I'm like, holy shit, you know, and he's like freaking out, you know?
Yeah, it's like a movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but imagine someone telling you that story, right? And you know it happens. Like people die in car fires all the time, right? But I mean, we see that shit all the time, right? Yeah. House fires and stuff like that. It's actual. So that always stuck in my head. Like, and so then when I actually started, like, when I went to, cause at 9's, I was mostly on the truck, right? So I didn't really like, I didn't really like get inside on many fires at 9's. All my fires at 9's, I was on the roof. Then when I wound up transferring to 57's, an engine company, right? Yeah,
you're going in.
So that's where I like really learned about like interior firefighting and stuff like that. And one of the things, a captain, like when I first got there, like at an auto fire, and he's like, hey, make sure as you're coming up, make sure you just spray sweep underneath the car as you're approaching. That way any fuel that might have like broken, or if the fuel tank busted or whatever, and there's fuel on the ground, at least you're spraying that away from you, so it doesn't like light off and catch you, off guard. So that always stuck in my head, right? So my thoughts, and I've seen fuel tanks burst on plenty of auto fires. Like I can't even fucking tell you how many auto fires I've been on at 57s, torch cars and traffics that turned into auto fires with trap victims, all that stuff, right? I've been around, did that shit for years. So I'm always thinking about fuel on an auto fire. And there's a difference between, like, you can go up to an auto fire, man, and stick the freaking hose line in the window and swoosh it around. The entire interior will go out. Boom, like that, right? The engine compartment's in, you pry a little hole in there, just stick the nozzle in there, put it on a straight stream, angle it, it'll go out like that. So if you're spraying and shit ain't going out, and you see it floating on the water, you have to stop and think about that, right? Like, what the fuck am I dealing with here? And how do I mitigate it properly?
Right.
That's what I'm talking about when shit is moving too fast. Like, there's guys who they're super trained. They know all the ins and outs of where to put the ladders on the buildings and stuff like that. But the small things about a auto fire and recognizing the dangers of a fuel leak are kind of getting missed at the wayside. Not only at the firefighter level, but at the captain and the engineer level as well, because one of them should have realized what was happening. You know what I mean? And at least it would have saved these like other two cars. That's what I mean. It feels like, and then so you wind up with a crew who doesn't know about these little things just because they didn't allow themselves to like go through and experience it, or didn't have the ability to have somebody with a little bit more time than them share some of these like crazy experiences with them or whatever. And then it compounds on top of that. So now they're teaching guys without really thinking about these little things. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then it gets worse. And that to me is how the Roman Empire crumbled. You know what I'm saying?
Are you thinking though that this is more from there being like mostly younger guys now everywhere?
Yeah, it's
or that there being fewer fires?
There's a lot to it. It's just like anything else, right?
Yeah.
There are factors to it. One factor is this, man. The department started changing when they changed the way we hire, right? So you used to, when I got hired, everybody took a written test. If you passed the written, you got an interview. Everything was based off your interview. So if you got 100, you were on a list with the hundreds. If you got a 95, better luck next time. You weren't going to go anywhere. You were on the list, but you weren't going anywhere. Okay. There's a whole list of hundreds. And then they would take chunks of that list of hundreds and put them through. Hey, your background investigation, medical, psych, you know, all that shit. Right. But then at the end of the day, you had this list of hundreds that passed everything that the chief picked from. Right. Well, they changed that. So now everybody takes a test, right? The written test. If you pass the written test, you're on a list. And what they do is they take a group of that list and they put them through an interview. So now you've got some hundreds in there. Yeah. Maybe a bunch of hundreds and some 95s and some 90s in there. But we've already committed the money of putting you through interviews. So we're going to continue. And also we got to take into account demographics and all that stuff, right? That the city has to abide by.
You're just saying like the entry pool is not the same.
It's different. Yes, it's definitely different. And so you wind up hiring not necessarily bad people, but people who haven't been like working toward this profession their entire lives. You know what I mean?
I remember you described.
And then
there
was like a sour note put on like nepotism and shit, and like kids and of course it was the fire department's fault because there were classes of like just like full of like chief's kids and captain's kids and shit like that, right? But at the same time, like me, for instance, I'm a son of a firefighter, right?
That's who does all the prep.
I was climbing all over fire engines, dreaming about being a fireman my entire life. Yeah. Everything I've ever done, like I've been learning about this shit from my dad and just being at the fire station and the guys messing around like for my whole life.
Yeah, you don't just wander up to a booth at a job fair.
I know everything about the lifestyle, about what the schedule is like. I know I know all the intricacies of what it means to be a firefighter before I even so we're losing out on good people because of this necessity to instead of picking like the best people for the job, there's all these other factors that have to go into it. And it makes for a class of people who we're getting like higher, like attrition rates, people that just decide they don't want to do it. They get out in the field and don't want to do it.
Right.
Yeah, it's just different, man. And and it's not to shit on anyone. You know what I mean? Like everyone's too, good if you in their
made
own
it,
way.
you made it. Yeah.
It's just different. It's different than it used to be. It used to be like the whole class was just filled with people who they've been working their ass off for years to be firefighters.
Fire chargers.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel 100% like that's what is.
Yeah. So then if that's the starting point, then that's ripe for what you're talking about.
Yeah. And that's what I mean when I feel like it just feels like feels
things
different.
ain't what they was.
Yeah, feels different, man.
I get it, dude. Yeah. So you watched the Katt Williams, Shannon Sharp interview?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All over the internet now.
Yeah.
People weren't talking about Katt Williams till right before that, and now everything you see is Katt Williams, right?
Yeah.
And nobody's disputing anything that he said.
Dude.
Yeah.
Let's see. It was probably 1990 when I started acting.
Mm-hmm.
When I did Backfield Emotion, I think it was like 91 or something like that, because it came out in 92.
That's when it came out? Nah.
I think so.
You were younger, dude. It was like 89 or 90, dude.
Was it? Okay. Oh, that's a long time.
You're like 10 or 11,
like,
dude. Yeah.
Be around and like I was like,
let's preface like Katt Williams said a lot of stuff about Hollywood, how you actually become famous, who runs Hollywood, and the things that you have to do and put up with. And he's basically saying that he has his career despite not doing anything.
And he owns all his own shit.
Right. Exactly.
And he never did any of that stuff.
Yeah. And to quote him, he said that he still has his virgin booty hole.
Yeah.
All right.
But like, you know, I was like in the group of Mexican kids that would audition for shit, right? So like all the American Me's, there was always the one kid that actually Bernie went to school with, I think, or she went to school with his brother, that got all the fucking parts that I was going out for. The fool from
the kid that was Juanito in Blood In, Blood Out?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, no
I
way.
lost that. I lost Radio Flyer to him.
That kid was in Radio Flyer?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying, like, I've been around, man, and I've done like there was a guy named Kevin McDermott who like was like
that was the acting coach, right?
Yeah, he was like the kid's acting coach. Like anyone around my age that is still an actor right now probably went through his Center Stage LA like classes and shit like that, right? And so, and there are plenty of people that I've like been in class with, that I've worked with when I was a kid and stuff, or around, that are like full blown like that's their career right now is acting, right? Okay. So I've heard all this shit like the whole time I've been around Hollywood.
See, and also when mom tried to get us into acting and got you into acting, took us to the Faces International thing. The first actor we met was Corey Feldman, who has also corroborated a bunch of the shit Katt Williams said. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely out there. And then like later in life, when I was like an adult and single, like I've been to Mansion Party before. The shit is, the way he described it is accurate, right? And just like everything that's come out about, you know, Harvey Weinstein, obviously, right? All the P. Diddy shit that's like been coming out and stuff like that. It is the way Hollywood has operated for
Katt
years.
Williams named both of them in the interview too, man.
But even when you go back to like the golden age of Hollywood, dude, like Hollywood starlets and shit like that. Like that's,
and the guys, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All the guys.
Oh yeah.
there was like a Netflix series, Hollywood. It was like a dramatization of like that era or whatever. It came out like 3 or 4 years ago. Where it's like, yeah, basically every dude you saw in a movie back then was blowing the producer or the head of the studio.
Yeah.
All of them, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude, Harvey Weinstein, fucking, what was the actress from Romeo and Michelle?
Mira Sorvino.
Yeah. She was an Academy Award winner, dude. Yeah. She won the Academy Award.
Did he like break into her apartment or something?
He just 100% killed her career because she rejected him.
I thought he tried to rape her too.
He tried to,
right?
Yeah. But she didn't allow him to.
That's right.
And he just completely ruined her career. Like, how many other people has that
She won
happened to?
Best Actress, didn't she? Or Best Supporting Actress?
Best Supporting Actress for that Woody Allen movie.
Okay.
Woody Allen.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I don't put anything past anybody. I don't like hold anyone in such high regard that like I would think that they were infallible or they wouldn't do something, because anybody will do anything, dude. Everybody has their dirty little secrets, man.
Yeah.
That's like one of the cool things about like me in acting is like I don't really need it. I feel like, you know what I mean? Because I have a career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not like a starving actor. I enjoy it a lot. It's something like I really like, but I don't know, man. You'll get on sets and you can see people like really trying. You know what I mean? Like trying to be on.
Yeah.
Trying to be clever and trying to be like, you know, come up with the quip and shit like that, right? And
they want to be remembered.
Yeah.
On set. Yeah.
And I'm just like, I've like learned to be like chill, like excited, but like chill and like calm. And I've realized like the older you get, the more you realize that like everybody is just fucking knuckleheads. This whole thing is just being run by just a bunch of knuckleheads.
Yeah, it's
man.
just you just get older and older and just more.
Yeah.
You're trusted
like,
more.
Yeah, you're like, oh, man, everybody around me is just a knuckle, but they're good at this thing that they do, or they speak this language properly. So
Danny Gonzalez, a Katt Williams of acting. He's kept his integrity, folks.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, if there is a cabal controlling comedy and comedy success, I'm open to talk.
Eddie Dick's,
you know what I mean? My DMs are open. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you need me to do?
Okay, so I told you guys that I would tell you the Weekend at Bernie's story.
Oh yeah, a couple episodes ago, you were talking. I think it's when you were talking about the intern you had or something. But you referred to a call where, as you described, a guy was basically wheeling his dead homie around a club.
So this is what happened, man. We got this call at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And it was for a person down. Okay. And so we pull up to the address and it's in like close to Marina Del Rey on kind of wide boulevard. And we pull up to this apartment building and there's so out in front of the apartment building, you know, in the little space between the sidewalk and the curb, right? That little grassy area.
Yeah.
There's a wheelchair, but like a big ass electric wheelchair, like
a heavy wheelchair,
a special needs wheelchair, right? And there's a dude standing there, like a regular dude, and then there's a little tiny dude on the ground next to the wheelchair, right? Okay. And it's a person down. So it's dark, and we pull up, and we're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And the guy's just like standing there. He's not worked up or anything, right? He's like, "I don't know, man. He's just, I can't wake him up." And I'm like, okay. And well, what are you guys doing out here? Like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, we're on vacation this is my buddy. And we're on vacation from like New Jersey or something like that. And he's never been out of our town. And so we were in San Francisco last week and we came down to LA and we just went out to a club and taxi brought us back and I can't wait. He won't wake up. And so we're like trying to check him, but he's like all like contracted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like a torso and his legs and his arms are contracted, right? Yeah. I'm not sure what disability he had, but this is what I'm trying to deal with. Mm-hmm. Big barrel chest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can picture it.
Yeah, picture it.
So trying to like, and he's got no neck, you know, I'm like trying to like see and assess like what the hell's going on with this guy. And it's dark. And so me and Matt go like, hey man, let's fucking throw him on the gurney. So we throw him on the gurney to put him in the back of the rescue to have light and be able to see and shit, right? Put him on the gurney, we put him in the back of the rescue. And like I jump back up there to like start hooking him up and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, this dude is fucking dead.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to move him, and he's kind of stiff, but I don't know if that's because
I was gonna say, what was the first dead giveaway? Giveaway.
He looked dead. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you look at someone.
Like, what dead giveaway? There's no life.
When I pull up to a scene and there's someone laying on the ground, like I'm eyeballing them as I'm pulling up, and sometimes you're just like, oh shit, that fool's dead. Yeah, that fool's fucking dead. So when I jump up, I look at him like, oh fuck, this guy looks fucking dead, right? But like I said, he's contracted. So like, go to check his jaw for rigor. You know what I mean? Like the regular shit that you would do to check if someone's dead. And he's kind of stiff, but it's like, I don't know if that's because he's contracted and stuff, right? So we start like looking at him more, and sure enough, man, he's got postmortem lividity, which is, for those of you that don't know, it's like when you die, your blood will start to pool in the dependent parts of your area. So if we're trying to determine someone dead, that's one of the things we look for. We'll look for rigor mortis. Usually their jaw is stiff. So it's the first thing I'll try to move. And then you roll, however they're laying, you roll them so you can see that dependent part, and it'll look like bruising or mottling on the dependent parts of the body. It's called postmortem lividity. This guy had it. And so I'm like,
so he's dead.
I go, hey, so we get out. I'm like, hey man, what the, and once you have that, you have rigor mortis and postmortem lividity, there's nothing you can do. They're dead. There's you're not going to work them up.
But his friend legit did not know he was dead.
He's like flicking through his phone, dude, just sitting out there. So
he's just like, fucking Mike is hammered.
Come out. I'm like, hey man, what the fuck? What happened? And he's like, nothing. We just we're at the club, and we had a couple drinks, and he's like, he's never had a drink before. And I'm like, no shit. And he goes, yeah, we had a couple drinks, and then we were going to leave, and he was like asleep in his chair. And he goes, so I just grabbed a little joystick and I pushed him out. So he wheeled him out of the club with the joystick on his wheelchair. And yeah, man, they called a taxi. Was it like a yellow cab taxi?
Wait, did he kill his boy with the Long Island iced tea?
He picked him up and put him in the back seat. The taxi driver put the chair in the trunk. They rode all the way from Hollywood to this apartment building near Marina Del Rey. And then the taxi driver pulled the seat out. He pulled him out, put him in the seat, and he wouldn't wake up. So then he calls 911, and I think it was the 911 operator that told him, put him down on the ground. So he put him down on the ground. But yeah, he was dead. But then it sucked. So he's telling me the whole thing. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, man, but your buddy's dead. Like he died. He's like, what? No, he's like, oh, kind of starts freaking out and stuff, right? And so, but now the other end of this is we have this guy in our rescue now. Yeah. Right. So normally,
but now he's yours then.
Yeah. When we determine somebody dead, we do it there in the field, and we wait there. LAPD comes out, they take over for us. The coroner comes out.
Hey, dude, has that happened before where you put a guy, you picked up a guy not knowing that he's dead?
It's happened to me before with a baby.
Oh, okay.
So like with young kids and babies, there's not really a whole lot we can do.
Right.
That's not BLS, right? It's hard to get an IV and shit like that. So usually if there's an emergency with the baby, we'll grab that baby and get in the rig and start heading to the hospital and do everything en route. So that's happened before. So SIDS, right? Sudden infant death syndrome. I think it's called something else now. Anyway, it's it's something that just happens to young kids, infants. Parents will come and check on them. They put them down to sleep and they just die for whatever reason. So they're pretty specific about that. If you have a kid like that, a SIDS death, and the kid is obviously dead, do not take the kid. Leave him there. There's obviously got to be a whole investigation on that shit.
Right.
So it's happened to me before where we pull up to an incident early morning, first call of the day at 6:30, and the parent came running out with this baby.
Right.
So met us at the rig. Okay, grab the baby, put it inside, start CPR, get all the clothes off, right?
Yeah.
Start really working them up, and then
Like, oh,
realize
shit.
it modeled and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, shit. There was actually a guy in my battalion that got in a lot of trouble for something like that, but it was the opposite direction. Everybody on scene, including the captain and the I think the rescue came on. The engine was already there. They were doing CPR on this baby. Brought him out to the rig, and he looked at me and said, "The baby's dead. I'm not transporting. We're leaving him here." But the captain and everybody was like, "No, let's go." And he was like, "No, I'm not transporting."
Whoa.
It turned into a whole thing. They wound up transporting him, and he got in a bunch of trouble for it.
Damn.
Yeah, my rule of thumb is anytime anybody says anything that's more in favor of doing more for the patient, you have to go with that. You can't fight it.
So this guy's dead.
Yeah.
In the rig. His buddy's out there freaking out.
Yeah. So, obviously we have to call LAPD out for anything like that, but now he's in our rig. We can't, you can transport directly to the morgue now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there is, we can like call and ask permission and transport if something like this does happen, transport directly to the morgue.
Like the morgue at County
LA County.
LA General? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've never done it. Anyway, so we had this guy. So now we're part of this scene.
Right.
He's a dead body in our rig.
Right.
We just had to sit there and wait for the coroner, man. And so it was like a 3-hour wait for the coroner on the side of the road. And then the coroner comes. It's crazy, man. They'll like start, looking over the body. And then they stick like a meat thermometer, just jam it right into your liver or the dead person's liver.
No shit.
Yeah, because the temperature of the liver will tell them
determine
the time of death. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
When that happened.
Yeah.
So watching that whole process was kind of crazy.
And they did in the rig?
Yeah, did it right there, dude.
Yeah.
They brought the body bag up and like we rolled him and put it down and like put the bag, and then she just freaking like she was shanking someone in prison, man. Just jammed this thing in.
And it's all in front of this random Airbnb.
Yeah.
The marina.
Yeah, dude.
Dude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy, dude. Just out in the open, man. How long did it all take?
What, the coroner part?
Yeah.
Not long when she was right there. She was
for them to show up.
That was like 3.5 hours.
Are you serious? You're just sitting out there with the guy?
Yeah. Well, LAPD showed up. They were talking to him.
Okay.
And then, it was just
dude,
a long ass incident. But yeah, that's the weekend at Bernie's.
That's
we were like, damn, man, this guy was just in the club, in the
no Molly
taxi.
Or anything, just like a drink. It just took a couple drinks.
Yeah, as far as
that was it.
As far as I knew. As far as I knew. But
well, he went out partying. He'd never been out of his hometown before. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
good for him, I guess.
Imagine having to call his parents.
Dude.
You know what I mean? Like that,
right?
Like you have this kid with special needs. And you know what I mean? You like care for him and like watch him your whole life. And then, okay, we got to let him be an adult.
Yeah, right?
That's so crazy, man.
Crazy, dude.
But yeah, there's no end to like the crazy shit that we see on this job, man. It's fucking nuts.
Go through. Yeah. All right. So I was teasing a story after your story, that same episode that I had an incident with the dog biting you in the worst place that you could imagine.
Whose dog?
A dog biting you. Jessica.
Okay.
All right. So I'm dating this girl. Where she's got 2 dogs, right? Anyone in LA now, you date somebody in LA, they got dogs.
What kind of dogs?
2 dogs, right? A pug and a big ass golden retriever. A big ass golden retriever puppy, right?
Yeah.
Like 80 pounds. Like this fool's big, dude. Like he like jumps up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And puppy. So bursting with energy.
Yeah.
Chewing on everything.
Yeah.
All right. Which is foreshadowing. And it's kind of like all over the place, right? Still, he's not fully trained yet, So we're, messing around, on the couch. The dog is out there off to the side. We're going to get up and go in the room. And I have like underwear on, but I was just messing around on the couch, right? And going into the room.
Yeah.
So I walk and the dog's in front of me and just looks at me and just goes for it and just it bites it, dude. Like it's in its mouth, but it's a puppy. And like puppies will like bite something to just like tug at it or something, like playing.
He thought it was
so
a
doesn't like
sock
super
toy?
like bite down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like that, but it was like, oh shit. But he didn't like bite down all the way, and he just like let go. I was like, oh.
Oh my God.
So there wasn't like damage, like the skin wasn't broken. I didn't bleed or anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
had the fear.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a train ran over me, bro.
You're probably lucky
You
it
know what I'm
wasn't the
saying?
pug, man. You know what I mean? Though I've seen pugs like attack like their toys,
But
and
they
like
got like
thrash
the
them about.
smaller mouth though, so maybe like would have like scratched or something.
Yeah,
more
but aren't they like
compared
bred to
the
like
freaking
kill
golden
mice and
retriever,
rats?
dude.
Don't they like thrash like that?
Do you
Pugs?
think? I didn't know pugs did anything.
Oh,
Are you saying that pugs are trained with a purpose?
Am I thinking of the right dog?
to pugs?
Or maybe it's
have
my
a
dog.
service to the world.
One of
Yeah.
them is like a rat dog. They're trained to like
Yeah,
hunt
probably your dog,
rodents.
dude. Yeah, see, fucking Mark saying is a land shark, dude. Yeah, it's fucking giant dog, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like there was a hole in my underwear, dude, from this dog's teeth, dude. A fucking hole. It's like getting shot, but like the bullet doesn't hit you. It just goes through your shirt. He's like, you have the whole sensation of the horrifying act,
Yeah.
but you just walked away unscathed.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm
dude.
saying? That's what that shit was like, dude. That shit was
Golden
rough,
retrievers.
Yeah.
My mom and dad's dog died.
Yeah.
Ace, poor thing.
I might give them her dog. You fucking
The
bites me
dick
again,
biter.
bro.
Oh, look at Ben trying to keep the dog as close as possible.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right. So one other thing before we wrap up, like we've had episodes about frequent flyers on this show, people that call 911
Oh my
incessantly, people you see every week. You said you've had people that you see every day.
Dude, you bring this up.
Yeah.
There's a guy named I don't know if I should say his name, but we call him Johnny Cash because he's this Mexican dude. He's in our district. He used to play guitar.
Oh, the guy that ran into you and then he was sober and
Yeah,
he like
yeah.
apologized
The guy that
for
hit
fighting
me
you.
and
Yeah.
went to jail. Yeah, all
Yeah.
that shit. So he calls. Well, anytime we get a call, and it'll be like a chest pain or abdominal pain, anywhere from like a 40 to 50-year-old male.
Mm-hmm.
In like these specific areas, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be fucking Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
So sure enough, I get this run last night, and I'm looking at it, and I tell Steve, I go, watch, this is gonna be Johnny.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get Danny's Johnny impression.
We get there. Sure enough, man. As soon as we pull up, he's trying to talk to everybody, but he turns around and I go, hey Johnny. I'm like, what's up, man? He goes, oh, compa, look. This ghost is chasing me, and it's trying to stab me in the throat. And I go, well, where? It stabbed me in the throat. I go, well, where? Show me, man. Right here. You're stupid. You don't believe me. And I'm like, hey, man. I go, hey, we're busy tonight, man. What do you need? How can I help? You want a blanket? I'm like asking because I'll give him a blanket every now and then. It's cold last night too.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, homie, I'm scared. And I go, Johnny, you're scared of what? A ghost, man? Come on. It's a ghost. Just calm down. Go sit down and relax. Here's a blanket. You don't believe me. And then he storms off, right? That's like pretty much my interactions with him. That we get that full, you know what I mean? We'll get him 2 or 3 times a day. You know what I mean? So you talk about frequent flyers. Like that's how stupid some of these frequent flyer calls or a lot of these frequent flyer calls are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing now something being done about it, or an attempt to have something done about it,
Which is crazy.
at the county level.
Yeah, I heard about this.
You know what I mean? So this is wild. So there is somebody who calls every day, multiple times a day, and it's been, I guess, for months.
Yeah.
And it's more in the eastern part of the county, but just jumps around to different community hospitals, and the same squads and same ambulances are, taking her all the time. So I think the ambulance company might have been the one that raised the alarm about, like, we're tied up with this same lady every day for hours. There's never really a complaint. She'll refuse to get off the gurney. Just, then she needs psychiatric care, but they can't always place her on a hold, or even if she's on a hold, she's still calling. You know what I mean? So they've actually banned her from 911. Or they proposed that, I think in another county in San Diego or something, she's banned from 911.
But how do you ban someone from what if she calls from a payphone?
That's what they're saying now. That's like they're like she can just get somebody else to call. I guess that's what she's been doing. is telling somebody else,
Yeah.
hey, please call 911 for me. I have, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And there's kind of like they're stuck.
Yeah.
And there's this whole like group of like doctors, medical directors,
Yeah.
you know, all these administrators talking about this one patient
Yeah.
and not really having a solution.
Yeah, because what are you gonna do, man? Because you're gonna ban her from being able to call for help, and then she's gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah.
And then,
But apparently she has already been banned in other areas for calling for help. And that's also part of like why she's like kind of like moving up the state.
it's like part of what's wrong with like the way our system operates is that there's so much fear of like lawsuits and stuff like that from the
Mhm.
public that they just send on everything. Anybody that says they want to go to the hospital, even if like nothing is indicating that there's an emergency that they
Mhm.
need to go for. If someone says, I want to go to the hospital, you have to take them to the hospital or you're leaving your ass hanging out there.
Mhm.
Like if somebody says
Yeah.
the words, I want to go to the hospital to me, it's just a done deal. We're going, doesn't matter. I'll take you there and go, they have no complaint. I have no
Yeah.
reason to bring them here. I'm sorry. They wanted
Yeah.
to come and I have to bring them. Even like sending on things, right? Like we get sent out on, or like a person down on the
Mhm.
sidewalk, right? In like a overrun homeless area.
Yeah.
It's like, and the notes are like a person laying on sidewalk in sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Caller does not want to approach. You know,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like our dispatchers need to be able to like talk to people and get told what's going on and just tell us exactly what the hell it is. Or like, hey, that sounds like a homeless person sleeping in a sleeping bag. Is that possible? Yeah, it is. Okay. You want to go ask them if they need help?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Okay. Well, then we're not going to send
Right.
a fire truck and an ambulance to
Yeah.
that, you know? But as long as I just don't see that changing, man, because cities pay out so much and everybody is so, into like suing
I know.
and like little scams to get money these days.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They have to cover their ass. They have to watch their ass. But I have seen, because like there's frequent flyers everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every place I've ever been, especially like I remember when I was in South Central.
I think though what's unique here, or I don't know how unique, but is that she like deliberately is trying to tie everybody up as long as possible. Like won't get off the gurney, won't transfer, doesn't want to get out of the ambulance sometimes. You know what I mean? Makes everybody come out of the ER to try to get her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like needs the police to be called every time. It's like a whole thing, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably a fucking mental illness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But when I talk about like not being able to fix, you can't just like fix one thing. You got to fix all these other things.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I don't know, man. We've talked about this before, but like, there's just like people on the street that should not be on the street.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because of their mental illness.
Yeah.
You know, that can't care for themselves, that make life dangerous for other people. You know,
100%.
But yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, but it's just a trip to see that like they do identify the people and they do try.
I mean,
to, you know what I mean? Have some kind of dialogue about it and see if there's something that can be done.
Yeah. But they always come to like, well, there's nothing to be done. When I was at 57s, there was a lady in 66s that they were trying to get for 911 abuse and they were keeping track. And I think they were told like, she has to have called like a certain number, like 1,000 times in a 30-day period or something like that for the DA to look at it as 911.
Yeah.
So it was some like astronaut. So they were like keeping track.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I remember like coming in the kitchen and they were like talking about like what number she was at and shit like that.
They got a counter on the.
But I mean, you can imagine, dude, we're running twice as many calls as we ran when Dad retired, right? When Dad retired, we averaged like 1,000 runs a shift. And now we're at like 2,000 or 1,800 a shift, which is fucking crazy. And a lot of those calls are bullshit ass frequent flyers that need to go. Now, the department also is implementing other things. Like they have the AP unit, which is the advanced provider unit now. So a lot of these like frequent flyers, now they're sending an AP unit to, because the AP unit can write prescriptions, they hand out like taxi vouchers and Uber vouchers and shit like that. So I think we're probably going to see an expansion on that program.
That program, yeah.
Because
There's only like a couple of them right now, right?
There's only a few of them, yeah.
Yeah.
But when they're in the area, like there's AP58 comes and hangs out on the west side sometimes. We feel it. It's it's nice having them there because they'll like jump a call ahead of us, like on a chest pain, and they'll already have the patient all hooked up and stuff like that, and he'll be like, we're gonna cancel you guys and call an 800 or whatever, because he's able to downgrade it properly, the PA, he or she.
Right.
But yeah, that might be the answer. But like, telling you, dude,
That's
as long as
still a ways
people
away
can
for
sue,
everybody else, yeah.
as long as people can sue, the cities are not going to hang their ass out to that one possibility that you know, they don't send on somebody or they don't transport somebody who winds up having a serious issue. Look at that the lady that died in the waiting room at Harbor Sale. Remember that? The cleaning guy was like cleaning around her and she was laying there dead for like hours. You know what I mean? That shit, she was at the hospital. And crazy. So the shit happens.
Yep.
But anyway.
All right, man.
Yeah.
We can do the closeout.
Yeah, man.
Right? Yeah,
hey,
another good
guys,
show.
Make sure that you thank you for listening, first of all. Like I said, we got guests lined up, so we're going to be bringing you more and more episodes. Please like the episode, comment anywhere you watch it, suggest it to friends. You know, we took a break for a little while, so I feel like we lost some momentum.
Definitely. But we're getting it back.
But I have people asking me about the show every day out in the field and stuff like that, and so tell your friends about it. Maybe they haven't seen us or heard of us before. And that's it.
All right, right on, man. Where can they follow you?
Follow me at DannyGonzo34 on Instagram.
All right, you can follow me at Ben9Humor, Ben9Humor, like benign tumor on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow our show at PRC Pod on Instagram and Twitter, at PRC Podcast on TikTok, and we are PRC Pod on YouTube, where you can watch all these episodes on YouTube. All right, thank you guys very much. Peace.